Thanks everyone. Welcome to Start North in Broadmeadows. My name is Abdullah. I'm the lead organizer of Melbourne Silicon Beach. As of a few weeks ago, I'm the CEO of Silicon Beach Group Limited, which is the company that runs all these Silicon Beach groups around the country, meetups around the country. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the Wurundjeri people, the people on whose land that we are having this great building and this meeting on, and acknowledge their leaders, past, present, and emerging. A little bit about Silicon Beach, because many of you are new to Silicon Beach. It is Australia's answer to Silicon Valley. That's simply how I explain it to people. We are a virtual network of communities right around Australia. Startup people mostly, but now we are supported by small businesses, professionals, freelancers, all sorts of people. So it's not limited to just tech startup people. That's how it started. App developers, web developers, software engineers. Andrew is one, and he's many things. Software engineer plus management leaders. I'll let Andrew introduce himself. He's one of our outstanding Silicon Beaches. So people like Andrew helping other people start their dreams and change the world. So Google us. If you Google Melbourne Silicon Beach, you'll find us. Join us on Meetup. We have a new website, siliconbeachgroup.org. You can actually put your project, small business, startup, whatever that is there, and connect with nearly 23,000 Silicon Beaches around the country. Melbourne alone is the largest community. We have 12,900, almost 12,900 now. So we are actually videoing this. It's going on Silicon Beach TV, our YouTube channel. So this training session will be shared with people around the country and in the world. I'll throw it to Mike to give us a short introduction about Start North, and then we'll take away. Thanks.
Thank you, Phil. Great. Thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to Start North. We've been open 6 weeks now, so we're a brand new co-working space in the north of Melbourne. We're all about helping startups, small businesses, entrepreneurs in Melbourne's north, get support and help and grow to our best ability. We strive to do events like this monthly, so we're looking to do a monthly networking event, workshop, different things like that every month, along with affordable co-working space to allow businesses to continue to grow. So I just want to thank all of you for coming today. If you have any questions on our space or any of our future events, be happy to let me know. I'll be happy to talk to you afterwards. Otherwise, I'd like to introduce our expert, Andrew, to go over stress management with all of you. Thank you so much for attending. And Andrew again. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, everyone. So, Andrew Murphy. You can probably tell from the accent I'm not originally from Australia. I've been involved in the startup scene for well over a decade now. I've been involved in 3 startups myself, one of which I sold to my partner, one of which we sold to an investor, and the one that I'm in now. So, I started my career as a software developer, so writing software, working with code, working with people. Then realised that what I really enjoyed the most was training people and coaching people and mentoring people to understand the skills that a lot of us kind of miss in the startup scene. Like where we start our business because we're great at the thing that we want to do. We start our business because we're a great accountant, and so we start an accounting business. We start our business because we're a great engineer, and we start an engineering business. But we sometimes don't focus enough on the other skills that can make us successful. One of those skills is stress management. So, Pillar Leaders is a company that focuses on these kinds of skills. We work with startups, we work with corporates, we work with individuals to train leadership skills, to train emotional intelligence skills. So, things like communication, feedback, conflict resolution, sales skills, how to coach people, and stress management. So, why is stress management important? Somebody want to?
Because it's bad for you.
Why is it bad for you?
Because it can get really stressful, like managing your business on your own, starting off.
Yeah, yeah. And I think especially as startups, you know, where we're putting a lot of ourselves, we're putting a lot of our soul into starting a
Not
business.
enough money.
And not enough money. Quite often, not enough money. And so, stress is the daily driver of a lot of startups. And the bad news is it doesn't go away for a long time. The good news is there's ways for you to work despite stress. So, I'm not here to talk to you about how to completely remove stress from your lives, because that isn't going to happen. But I can help you to manage that stress. I can help you to understand the things that you can do when you get into a situation where you're suffering from stress, how you can reduce that stress and how you can continue to work despite being in a stressful environment. So when we think about stress, I think about stress as an emotional intelligence skill. Has anybody heard the term emotional intelligence before?
Yep.
Yeah. So when we think about emotional intelligence, I like to split it into quadrants. So when I think about emotional intelligence, it's about being aware of yourself and others, and being able to manage yourself and others. So this first quadrant here is self-awareness. This quadrant here is self-management. This quadrant here is social awareness.
Yeah.
And relationship management is the last one. So self-awareness is our ability to understand ourselves. It's our ability to understand what drives us. It's our ability to understand our current emotional state. It's our ability to understand what changes that emotional state. But being aware of yourself isn't good enough. It's a good start. You need it. You need to start with self-awareness. But the thing that actually correlates with success in managing stress for yourself is self-management. Because if you're aware of some information, that's only the first step. Acting on that information is the second step. Now, really, really good self-awareness correlates with really, really good self-management. If you don't understand why you're stressed, it makes it even harder to reduce that level of stress. If you don't understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling, how can you hope to be effective in reducing it? Yeah. So, you know, there's a whole lot of these skills, and this is effectively what we focus on. So, what I'm going to share with you today is one part of a full day course that we do for corporates, and when Abdullah asked me to do this, I decided to pick the best bits of this course to share with you today, because we've only got 30-40 minutes, and this is a full day course. But we'll see what we can put into this. So, why do we focus on stress management? What is it about resolving that stress?
To overcome it, to move on, to progress into your business.
Exactly. To overcome and to progress. Because quite often when we end up stressed, we get stuck. We stay in the place we're in and we can't move onwards. Who thinks they're good at stress management? So why are you here? For the food. Yeah, it's something that, you know, some people are good at naturally, some people are not good at naturally. So when we think about stress, I like to split stress into two different areas. Can everybody see this okay?
Yeah.
So what we've got here is I've got a graph that is a normal distribution, and here we've got performance and here we've got arousal. And what this is meant to show is there's this peak point of the way that your body and the way that your mind is working. So if we analogize this to the way that a car works, when you're just starting off in the morning and your car's a bit cold, it's kind of just kind of plugging along. So we're at a very, very low state here and our performance is very, very low. Conversely, the other side, if we're redlining, we've got our foot down on the accelerator, the engine's going overdrive, but we're not really going anywhere. So there's this point in the middle where we're kind of working at optimum performance, where we've got the right amount of energy, the right amount of focus, the right amount of arousal to be optimally performed. And what happens if we're not particularly focused, kind of have apathy here? You know, we don't really want to do anything. We kind of get up in the morning, we're just like, I can't really be bothered to work. And on the other side, we've got anxiety. We've got both of these things cause us to drive off of this peak performance. And both of them are actually super important for startups, because we all like to focus, and there's a reason why this is called stress management, is because we all like to focus on this side. We all like to focus on the things that get us so annoyed, so stressed, so anxious that we can't function. But a lot of us tend to forget about this side, this apathy side, this disengagement, this lack of energy, this lack of focus. And this is just as important to startups. Right? Has anybody been in a scenario where they just wake up in the morning and just like, I'm not really feeling it today. I don't really want to work on my startup today. It's all part of the same spectrum, it's all part of the same curve. This extreme anxiety at one side, this extreme apathy at the other side, and everything in the middle. And this is an optimal point where we're at peak performance, which we call flow. When you're in a flow state, like when you're in that place where, you know, time just seems to disappear and you're just working optimally. Like, this is what flow state is. This is what it means. It's when you're in that right balance between the two.
I'm always there.
You're always there.
I've learned how to deal with that.
You should be up here teaching, and that should be
I'm
sad.
killing it, yeah.
Amazing.
I'm there when I'm playing video games.
Yeah, to be honest, a lot of people get it in video games because, but it also depends on the right video game.
Yeah.
Like if you were playing, like what kind of video games would you like to play?
Mostly where I kill people.
So if you were to play, I don't know, Tetris,
Yeah,
maybe
no.
that wouldn't get you as far up
No.
this curve. And maybe if you were playing Tetris, you'd be here.
Yeah.
So you'd kind of be getting a little bit of you know, stimulus, but you wouldn't be in that flow state.
I think this is something that it takes time for you to practice and get to understand.
Yes.
And it's not something that you can, because you've been more on the anxiety stage and always been thinking about that, you're not going to be able to understand this until you understand apathy, like understanding why you're at that stage and why this has all happened and why you should be so hard on yourself. I think you'll be able to understand and move along.
It depends on the person. So I agree with you, but it depends
As
on
long
the
as
person.
you're practicing that side of it, everyone can learn.
Yes, everybody can,
Yeah, everyone
but
can.
some people are naturally, like this is the normal distribution, so this is an average across the
But I was
population.
always there, but
Yes.
I've learned how to be there now, so can everybody else.
So for some people, they tend to live in this side of the graph more. Other people actually tend to live in this side of the graph more. So I'm actually somebody that lives in this side of the graph
If you get more
so-
sick, maybe you will start learning about that.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm somebody who struggles to get energy, and I have to do a lot of the techniques we're going to talk about to get the energy. But for a lot of other people, they might live their lives mostly in this side, where what they're worried about is calming themselves down and getting themselves back into the flow state from this way. Whereas I focus mainly for me, for my personal, on getting myself back to the flow state from this way.
I've actually experienced anxiety, and that's why I never want to go there again.
Yeah,
That's why I just want to balance.
So if we're kind of recognizing that we've got these two positions, we can be existing in this part of the graph, or we can be existing in this part of the graph, then we've kind of got this concept that there's two types of techniques we can do to bring ourselves to peak performance. We've got techniques that bring us this way, and we've got techniques that bring us this way. Now, what do you do when you get up in the morning? What do most people do? The first thing they do when they get up in the morning? Food. What else? Instagram?
Phone.
What do they do to give themselves energy?
Shower.
Shower gives you energy. That's good.
Yeah, done.
Drink coffee.
Drink coffee. Like, what is coffee? Like chemically, what is coffee? Caffeine. And what's caffeine? What type of chemical is caffeine?
Stimulant.
Stimulant. So stimulants move us from here to here on the curve. So we wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is have coffee because it's a stimulant.
I'll listen to motivation.
Yeah, there are all these things we can do. But it's the same on the other side. No, it's not sad. It's something that a lot of people do. But it's recognizing what it does. And if you're in this, I'm jumping forward. We will come back to that. If I don't come back to that,
I've got it everywhere.
So, but we've also, at the end of the day, we've worked a really, really long day. We come home, we're stressed. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Low energy.
What do people do?
Eat.
Yeah, drink what? Beer. Yeah. So if caffeine is a stimulant, what's alcohol? Depressant. By the way, we're going to talk about why these are bad strategies. I'm just using them as examples. So we've got these ideas that we've got one half of the graph, the other half of the graph. We've got things that move us this way and things that move us this way. So if you have too much coffee, what happens to you?
You'll drop. You'll fall. Shake,
Because what's happened is you've used a strategy, and instead of it moving you here, it's moved you there. You've had too much coffee. You've started off in a position, you've said, okay, well, my way to remedy the fact that I don't have energy is to drink coffee. But instead of having your one espresso shot, you've had a quadruple espresso shot. And you've shot right past that flow state, and you're now here. And that bodily reaction to that caffeine is mimicking what happens when you end up in an anxiety state, because you've revved your engine up too much. What happens if you have too much alcohol?
You die.
Let's move back a little bit from the die.
You do regretful things.
If you go beyond the regretful things, what happens if you keep drinking that?
Then you wake up with somebody else and you go bed or something.
You pass out.
Yeah, an accident.
You pass out. Like you've gone way too far back this way, and your body has been so depressed by the chemical that is taken on that you collapse on the floor unconscious. That's what happens if you drink too much alcohol. So we can see that these techniques that we're using, the caffeine and the alcohol, these things move us on this graph, but there's danger of moving us too far. But that's not the only reason they're bad. We'll come on to the other reasons they're bad strategies. So, if we're in this scenario, if we wake up, or if we go into a meeting, and we've had a meeting with somebody, and we end up really, really stressed because of that meeting, then how can we possibly, when we're in this stress state, how can we possibly hope to remember everything that we can do to de-stress ourselves? If we're already stressed, then we're out of this optimal flow state. If we're already stressed, then our brains aren't working right. Our brains are over-revving, or our brains are under-revving. And we can't focus on the things that actually allow us to de-stress or allow us to re-energize re-energize ourselves. So the point of what we're going to do today is to talk about how we can build strategies that we always have with us, so that when we're in a situation where we're incredibly stressed by a meeting, we don't have to think, what did Andrew say? What was that strategy he said 6 months ago? I can't remember. Because our brains are out of this optimal state. At the end of this, I want you guys to have a list of things that are going to work for you. Because when you're here, you can't remember the list. So we're going to write them down. So we have one example of ways we can move up from this way, ways we can give energy to ourselves. What are some other examples of ways we can give energy to ourselves? We have motivational, listen to motivational speakers. What else? Kathy?
Music.
What specifically about music? If I listen to Renaissance Death Chants, is that going to energize me?
Depends on you.
Yeah.
Depends how much you love.
Yes.
Depends what it makes you connect with.
So there's some subjective part of music which changes depending on who we are. It may stimulate me, it may not stimulate me. So music is definitely one of them, but thinking about what type of music, because the type of music that energizes me might not be the type of music that energizes you. So can we use music on this side? Yeah. Can we use music to keep us in the right zone?
So they're using gyms.
Yeah, they do. Like, gyms are great at this. They have the right music to keep you going. So what I actually have on my playlist, I have 3 playlists. I have a playlist that when I wake up and I'm here, a playlist that can get me into the zone. And if I end up too stressed, I have another playlist that can move me back down into the zone. And while I'm in the zone, I have a 3rd playlist that keeps me there. So you can use music as a great way to do this. What are some other strategies, things that motivate us?
What about meditation?
Yeah, it's a big one for a lot of people is meditation. Where does meditation move you? Does meditation give you energy or does it de-stress you?
I think de-stress.
De-stress. Okay. For a lot of people, they use meditation to give them energy as well. Like they'll wake up in the morning and they'll meditate to kind of set the focus for the day. A lot of people will do meditation on an evening to bring themselves back down.
And again, food.
Food, yeah.
Yeah, you can eat.
So
Take medication.
what does food do for you? Where does food move you on that curve?
Well, it can bring you to good optimum level, so you can perform good
From which side?
from
this
waking
side?
up, yeah.
Yeah.
And even when you're there, and even when you're there.
Yeah, and food is a really important one because just as I said, when we're stressed, we're already outside of this flow state. When we're hungry, it's really, really hard to stay in that flow state. Yeah, and it's hungry. We've all heard of the phrase hungry. So there's this kind of minimal list of things that we can do. And I'm just gonna skip forward. Come on. So we've got brain food here. So this is one of the things, how to set up the strategies for success. This is one of the things we teach on the full day course. Is brain food is so important for making these strategies work. If you're hungry, your strategies are less likely to work. If you're sleepy, your strategies are less likely to work. If you're dehydrated, your strategies are less likely to work. When I was 16 years old, and I was doing my age 16 exams at school, my school took us on a camp to teach us how to do exams better. The #1 technique that these experts told us about taking exams effectively was that 77% of people are dehydrated. Just everybody in the population, 77% of people are just dehydrated. And it's a really big indicator for how well your brain works, is are you actually hydrated enough? And so if you ever see me, this is never too far away from me. I drink water constantly. because it honestly is a big predictor for how the effectiveness of all of the strategies and just that general well-being.
And you've obviously seen a difference.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
And that's the main thing, yeah.
It is,
So,
and that's a really, really good point, because like these things that we're talking about, hunger, sleep, and thirst, they all affect all of us, every single one of us. They affect us in different ways, but they affect all of us. These other things that we're going to talk about in a minute, these strategies, the listening to music, like listening to music might not work for you. It might not be something that works for you. It might not be something that works for you, but it might work great for you. And a lot of this is spending the time now when we're optimally performing, when we're not stressed, when we're not disengaged, to use our flow state brain to think about these things and to go, okay, I'm going to put a plan in now. Use my optimal brain now to put a plan in place.
nice question. Do you always go at that rate? Can it go down and up?
So do you mean, is it possible to always stay in flow state? So, yes and no. What we're talking about today is something called resilience. So, resilience. And resilience is one technique that allows you to recover from when you get pushed out of this flow state. There's another technique called composure, which is all about staying in that flow state. So it's definitely possible to learn how to stay in this. If that's something you want to know more about, come have a chat with me afterwards, and I can talk to you a little bit about that. But what we're talking about today is how you get back to that, because it's a 2.0 skill. It's a 102 skill, a 201 skill of how you do that next step.
I feel like I go to that stage, I stay there, and I do it until I get to that stage.
Yeah,
Which
because
I shouldn't.
because
I should know when to stop.
you'll be slowly creeping your way up here,
Yeah.
and you'll be going through here, and then you won't have recognised
Yeah.
that you've passed that peak point,
Yeah.
and you'll keep going.
Yeah.
And this is why, just to tell you a story, I was going to do some public speaking. I was going to speak in front of 200 people, which this was the first time I'd ever spoken in front of more than sort of 10 people. And so I was quite nervous. And so I drank coffee. Because for me, I was thinking, okay, well, if I'm nervous, then I want to do something that I know when I wake up in the morning gives me energy. But what I forgot to realise was that I was actually already here on the curve. And I drank coffee, and I ended up here. And I was shaking, and I struggled to focus. My mind was flitting around various points. And it was because I didn't appreciate where I was on the curve. I didn't appreciate that I was already on the wrong side of the curve, and I was using the wrong strategy. What I should have done was something that brings me back this way. Something, for example, for me, going for a walk, going out into nature, taking my mind off what I was doing, something that brings me back in a way. So,
Would drinking alcohol have helped?
yes, and it would have helped, but the thing, so thank you for reminding me that.
Suspicious of that.
I was going to talk about this and I completely forgot, so thank you for reminding me. The thing we need to be careful of with caffeine and alcohol, and I'm not standing up here as somebody who is a teetotaler from either, is they are what are called end-chain solutions. End-chain solutions. Our bodies naturally produce hormones all the time. Our bodies are sat here pumping out hormones as we speak. And what stimulants and depressants do is they short circuit our body's ability to produce their own hormones. So if I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is drink a load of coffee, and I do this every day for years and years and years, what I'm effectively telling my body is that it doesn't need to do that job itself anymore. I'm giving it the stimulant it needs to wake me up in the morning. And what happens if you drink coffee for years and years and you don't drink coffee?
You get the shakes.
You get shakes, you get a headache, you feel tired and drowsy, because your brain is sat there going, I didn't need to do this before. I didn't need to wake myself up. And now you want me to wake up? I don't know how to do that. I've forgotten how to do that. Because your body forgets that it needs to do these things. And alcohol is exactly the same thing.
It's lazy.
Yeah, your body gets lazy. It atrophies. In the same way as if you don't use your muscles atrophy. So one of the big issues with people coming down from the space station is, they've been in space for weeks and weeks, months and months, their muscles atrophy. And they struggle to stand because their muscles are wasting away. The same thing happens with your body's ability to produce chemicals. So for example, if you're an alcoholic and you drink alcohol to sleep, if you then don't have that alcohol available, your body goes, I don't know what to do. I've never had to do this before. I've never had to make myself sleep. So they're great short-term solutions. Like again, I am not a teetotal on either caffeine or alcohol, but I choose when I use it carefully. I don't use it every day. Like I don't have coffee every single day. I choose when I use it. It's when I need that extra bit, and it's not a common strategy. So, how long have we got left? How long have we got? Okay, cool.
Another ruffle of coffee now.
I want to talk about strategies. Now, this is a list of strategies that we can use, and for the last kind of 5 minutes, I want you all to just have a look at this and discuss. Find one that takes your interest and discuss it with the person sat next to you. Which ones you look at and go, oh, that could really work for me, that won't work for me, I don't really understand what that one is. I'm splitting these up into a quadrant of things that you can do mentally with yourself, things that you can do physically with your body, things that you can do in the environment around you, and things that you can do socially, which is having that conversation with somebody. So, mental, you've got things like adjust your mindset, acknowledge progress, practice visualization, meditate. Social, we've got perform acts of kindness, vent to a trusted friend. Things that are strategies that we can use to either move ourselves up the curve or down the curve, depending